All right. Let's go. Let's go.
Welcome. Another episode 8.
Episode 8. That's wild. That's 8 weeks in a row. We took a break.
We took a break
Yeah, we took a
somewhere.
yeah.
I feel like we should get like a round of applause, yo. Like if
Yeah,
like
it's one
just
of those
stop
buttons
part.
that just claps for us.
Yeah, pop.
There you go. Um,
But yeah,
Happy Mother's Day.
happy International Mother's Day on International Women's Week. You know what? Actually, I think it's because they're trying to separate. I don't know if again this is just like guys. We don't know jack about what happens on Women's Month. But I wonder if for the International Women's Month, there are different categories like Mothers, International Mothers Day, International Girls Day. Maybe they should also have International Grandma's Day and so on and so forth.
Maybe they should.
International Single Women Day.
Oh, the single lady. Oh, the single lady.
Put your hands up, man. Anyways, yeah, like, but again, it's International Mother's Day, but they don't celebrate it here in Canada
I don't think it's a North American thing.
because they have Mother's Day in May.
Yes.
Or is that just
I would say that's more North American.
okay?
Yeah. So maybe that's where all the splits are coming from. Because I mean, I guess this is one Mother's Day. There'll be Mother's Day in May. There's something called Mothering Sunday, and I know that for sure.
Mothering Sunday. That's wild.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's crazy how like sometimes we have like a lot going on and we can't just keep up. But you know what? You all deserve it, man.
Yeah.
You deserve all the attention. You deserve all the accolades. We should have more days. In fact, why just one
Wait,
day?
like you said, it's 360 days. Wait, no, you said it. Yeah, and
Yeah. We only have 5 days for ourselves, and the rest of the days.
that's it.
But I feel like there might be like feedback. Maybe do we reduce the voice?
I think it's more the headphones actually.
Oh, the headphones are the ones just giving us
Yeah,
feedback internally.
they're too loud.
Oh, okay,
Um,
all good.
Yeah, then yes, the feeders for those ones are down. No, just beside the yeah, yeah.
Right. Well, yeah. What do we have happening in Canada?
So I mean, the big story this past week was 84,000
Oh, the 84,000.
jobs lost in February.
84,000 jobs lost is
Every time I saw that headline, I was like, man, did somebody actually call all 40 million Canadians
to find out how many jobs.
to find out how many jobs were lost? Obviously, silly question. They do some sort of sampling and whatnot.
It's called something of the population. Yeah.
Is it weird that I just don't believe it?
That there are 84,000.
I don't believe the so-called scientific method that they've used to come up with this number. I think that 84,000 is just a random made-up number.
No, 84,000 is a statistical number with statistical errors. There will be a plus or minus somewhere statistically.
Yeah, plus or minus 100%.
You can't do plus or minus 100% in statistics.
Here's my problem. So they do this labor force survey.
Yeah.
56,000 households
Yeah.
that I don't know if they call, if they email, if they send a letter in the mail. I don't know what.
No, you have to do, like, for it to be a statistical survey, you have to either call or you have to have them fill a survey in person, but not really over online. Like you can, like I don't think
But this is kind of send some mail.
yeah, there's some surveys that can be collected online, but they have to be statistically, like you have to find a way to statistically relevant. Like you can't just go like blast to everybody's email, fill out this survey because you can't tell if it's a random population size.
Yeah, so StatsCan they don't send emails to that
Yes.
effect. They send a letter.
Yeah, or they will call your
Your
phone
household.
number
Yeah.
in a region that
Yeah.
they know that you're going to be.
So yeah, they have their methods of collecting the data.
Yeah.
My problem is collecting the data from 56,000 households.
Okay.
Just don't believe that it's statistically representative of the Canadian population.
I mean, you said 40 million Canadians. How do you know there are 40 million Canadians?
I mean, they do a census. there could be errors in that one.
Exactly.
I mean, you're kind of feeding into my skepticism.
Statistics is not saying there are no errors. Statistics is saying like we're trying to get the most statistically like significant sample that can give us a good representation with little statistical errors, like plus or minus.
I think it's a made-up number. 84,000 jobs lost. It's such a
It's a round
I don't
number
like.
intentionally.
I don't like the start of it.
So wait, if they said 84,201 jobs, would you use that?
No, it's still not. If they said it and I went in my curiosity and I was like, oh, how exactly did they find this out? And then the answer I got back was, oh, Statistics Canada talks to ESDC and CRA to understand the difference in those who are employed in Canada on a month to month basis.
Yeah.
I'll have a much higher degree of confidence in that stat. Finding out about this whole 56,000 households that they get, whether it's calls or letter in the mail.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but when anybody calls me for a survey, if I entertain it, I'm probably having fun, and or maybe it's something I really care about, and then I'll give.
Yeah, but so for the sample size to match the population, you have to entertain it. So they probably called a lot of people, more than that, but the only number they're representing for the sample is the people that engaged.
Okay, but then they start to lose control over how representative that
No, you
sample
have
is.
to make sure that you're randomizing your sample, especially if you're doing like, so for example, you're going to randomize the 64,000 calls.
56,000
calls across Canada. So you can't just do 56,000 calls in BC. You try to find 56,000 random samples of people that match the demographic of Canada.
How easy will it be for the exact 56,000 people that answer and actually entertain that survey to be 56,000 unemployed people?
Then we have a bigger problem. If it's 56,000 unemployed people.
No, not really.
Because the whole sample is unemployed. If the whole sample is unemployed, man, we should be packing our bags and finding greener pastures somewhere.
See, my point is that could easily have happened.
Because they could literally call you up and be like, hey, this is from Statistics Canada, we're trying to take a survey of like employment across Canada. Are you currently employed? Were you employed last quarter? That way, it's not like
they do it on a household basis. So how many people in your household are employed?
Yeah.
So, I'm sure they have some methods.
People that just like to help the government get their data.
I just don't like it. In my opinion, they should talk. ESDC has the data. Like, why do they need to survey Canadians when it's right? The government of Canada literally already has the information they need.
ESDC eventually gets the data. So Statistics Canada is giving you an approximation of the data going forward.
We don't want approximations.
Yeah, but before you get the real data, what you could have done with it in macroeconomics is that you don't want a lagging data. You want a forward-looking data so that when the data does come, you've either gone ahead to make some decisions with it that you reconcile.
When you say lagging,
so for example,
why will ESDC be lagging? So every paycheck that anybody in Canada gets, well, maybe not every, but for the most part, the taxes are deducted right there and then.
Not every paycheck.
Right. Only like every. People who are like T4 employees for company,
like contract employees, executives. Most of those things don't get taxed. Like
that's why I said ESDC and CRA.
And then also some small businesses too. They hire part-time workers, and then you pay per hour and so on and so forth.
You still have to report all these things to Canada.
You eventually have to report at the end for your tax filing. Not every business. Remember, some businesses are allowed to report taxes on a yearly basis. Only some big businesses have to report on a quarterly basis, and you're reporting for the previous quarter. You have like a grace period on when you can report for the previous quarter. So eventually those reportings get to CRA and ESDC.
So talk about sample size. So there's one sample bucket of employers and employees that have real-time data with Service Canada.
Quarterly data.
every 2 weeks or every week or every month,
No, but
however they collect your
they
paycheck.
collect the tax, but they don't send it to CRA immediately. Yeah, they don't send it to CRA immediately. It's at the end of the quarter that they have to respond to CRA with what they collected.
Okay, sure. Maybe, okay, let's move left a little bit to who is collecting.
Yeah.
Right, so your payroll software is collecting.
Yeah, your payroll is something. And then some people use the payroll. So for example, like if you're looking at for investors, they use like proxy for like some large payroll, like ADP would come out at the end of the quarter because they have data on a lot of employees and tell you before even the government gives a statistic report, like most of these payroll folks can give you a statistic report that you can go with.
Now, my point is, can Statistics Canada plug in to a more real-time access feed of the employment status in Canada?
Probably, but it would give you, like for example, like the only reason I know about payroll is because in US like most investors, they wait for ADP's quarterly statement, and when ADP gives quarterly statement, they also tell you what a large chunk of their clients in terms of employment is, and investors use that to approximate what is coming out by the Fed. In Canada, I don't know if there's a big payroll like that cuts across a lot of our industries. I think the US is easier to do, again because of sample size. Assuming that ADP has a random sample size across US, their projections of employment can reflect of the population. So again, CRA would have to do that. Hey, do we partner with 2-3 payrolls, or do we just do what we've been doing all along? Because the payrolls are doing. See, the payroll is doing pretty much what CRA is doing and Statistics Canada is doing.
I don't like.
In fact, they're calling it. There's some of the people that pick up the phone and be like, "Yo, I'm willing to help the government," and it's like, "Yeah, I don't have a job, and that's I need you also." Find me a job, like kind of thing, right? So all of this data is actually eventually too. What I also realize is when CRA, like maybe the following quarter, companies have reported, you can retroactively go back and look at the missed points. So eventually you can test how good the statistics was. And so basically, if the data that is coming in eventually doesn't match the statistics, then you have to change your sampling. You have to change, but you can't wait for the data to come to do a macroeconomic decision.
I don't know. I'm not convinced.
Statistics is not science. Statistics is statistics.
It's an art.
Yeah, it's a statistic.
Yeah,
it's not like a black and white thing.
I'm not convinced. But you know what? 84,000 jobs lost in Canada.
It was actually a heavy number, though.
Yeah.
Like it's heavy. Youth unemployment 4.1%. So and then racialized youth compared to non-racialized youth higher, obviously. I don't know what is causing it. I usually say it's AI, but hey, that's me.
Yes, impact was men aged 25 to 54 and young people aged 15 to 24.
Yeah, I actually don't know what's yeah, so most of the losses what private sector.
Most of the losses were private sector. Most of the losses impacted younger people.
Oh, even construction and manufacturing seeing significant decreases. That's interesting. You think construction and so on. I don't know about manufacturing, but construction.
I mean, February is kind of winter.
Yeah, well, construction happens a lot during winter.
Yeah, and maybe. I'm guessing that there's reasonable,
everybody is to just be like, hey, let's take it easy.
Take it easy, but
but yeah, this is not even a quarter. This is on a monthly basis. So imagine so it's very
January. Right?
Yeah, so it's compared to January. So we probably will be getting the quarterly accurate report at least across the big companies by April. And then you can go back and look at the statistics and see if it was
optimistic of you.
Yeah, but you can go back and evaluate the sample and say, hey, Statistics Canada, based on actual numbers, unemployment was not that bad.
So let's assume that this number is actually trustworthy.
This number has a plus or minus error. Maybe 100, maybe 300 off. whatever you want to give it. Even 4,000, 80,000 is still a big number.
I don't trust any of those digits by any stretch of the imagination.
Also, so you want to be careful. Like with statistics, it works beautifully on a macro level.
Yeah, okay. If you use the same method of collecting the data, processing it,
Yeah, if you use a very small number,
Yeah.
it's like not great. This kind of thing will probably like start to show. Yeah, that way I will be on your bucket. That is, hey, look,
Yeah.
you can't just be calling 2 people out of 10 of us and make a decision on 10 people. But on a 40 million, there's only so many people you can call for you to see that there's a trend here of about 6%.
Sure. Let's trust statistics kind of for 2 seconds. But what are the implications of this level of unemployment? I don't know if it's considered high at this point, but
I mean, like with everything that has been going on, like it's probably not the highest that we've seen, but like 6 to 7% in February probably means Bank of Canada has to wait to increase interest rates, so make it still.
yeah, but if jobs are being lost at this rate, I think beyond interest rates for people who have collateral to borrow money.
Yeah, but it incentivizes businesses to not worry about restricting their money, but to invest more. So when they cut the interest rate, businesses like feel like they can take a bit more of a leap.
Yeah, they can take more risk, they can invest more,
Yeah.
they can, expand, all of those things. But those are kind of like secondary solutions to the problem of unemployment. The primary solution is how can we create jobs beyond let's incentivize businesses to do XYZ. There are jobs to be had in Canada, right, that have been killed by government regulation, government decisions, all of those things.
Sure.
Like, how can the government really incentivize the economy to get going? Like, I want to wake up tomorrow and, this industry is booming. We're getting investments from all over the place, new companies popping up, hiring XYZ, like stuff like that. That's what you want to hear as a response to 84,000 jobs lost. Not let's wait for the Bank of Canada and Steve McClellan to come out and be like, based on blah 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 blah, we're gonna just hold it.
Yeah, unemployment is a very Bank of Canada can help influence it, but the one that was a bit surprising is the fact that construction is also part of what's driving the unemployment. In general, youth unemployment at 14-15% is probably the main thing here. It's not really high level unemployment, like you said. 15 to 24 most impacted demographic. Obviously 25 to 54 obviously were impacted, but the 15 to 24 have been influencing unemployment for the past 2 years.
Yeah, that demographic is probably less worrisome than the 25 to 54 men.
No, what I'm saying is, if that demographic has not been epidemically high on unemployment, this number would be low. Okay. What I'm saying is that's the one that stands out, that hey, if we're having 15% youth unemployment, that's where so basically entry level jobs are disappearing.
Yeah.
In a lot of places.
Yeah, but the one that worries me is the 25 to 54, because when men are out of work, there's other societal markers that tend to tick up, which they're not good markers. So I think the government should really take this statistic as much as they believe it. They should take it seriously.
They should take it seriously
and do something about job creation.
Another reason you cannot do the real time, there's some people that just stop collecting paychecks.
Just stop collecting
paychecks. If you're using real time data to who is getting taxed, who's not getting taxed. There's some people that just want retire. There's some people that just you know what, I don't want to work, I quit.
So I quit. Yeah, if you quit, then you're unemployed.
Yeah, but the government cannot tell if you're unemployed or if you're choosing to not work.
So you're then part of the phone call or whatever, they ask you, do you want to work?
Exactly.
Okay.
So the definition of unemployment is not people that don't have jobs. Unemployment in the macroeconomics is people that want to work and do not have jobs. So people that don't have jobs is a lot more than 6%. So it's drastically more than
people that don't have jobs. Yeah, but many of them don't want to work.
Yeah,
we can go into a whole other conversation around how we have a society that encourages people to not want to work.
Yeah. I don't know, man. This society makes you want to stay and work 9 to 5 non-stop.
No. It makes a certain kind of people want to work non-stop. But for the most part, like on average, I think the default reaction to how the Canadian economy is set up is, you know what? Maybe I work, maybe I don't.
So how you pay bills?
The government to take care of me.
That's wild, man. No, very soon I think Makani is going to be cleaning up some of these things, inefficiencies.
Marcani better chill.
Cleaning up some of these inefficiencies. Like, well, yeah, like unemployment is a big number, man. Like, um, I think that it's specifically for me. The only reason I've been calling out the youth unemployment is because over the last 2 3 years we have just seen that decimated. At first, people say it was immigration that was taking the youth jobs,
Yeah.
but they stopped immigrations. The unemployment metric is still high.
going up. Yeah.
I think AI has been affecting youth unemployment in general.
The young guys are using AI more.
Yeah, but AI is doing a lot of things they can be hired to do. Maybe I don't know, but entry level jobs been looking really bleak for a lot of youth and young people. At least the folks that I know in my circles, and yeah, the racialized component obviously, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I'll say government should take a look at this.
Yeah, I think for sure they need to loosen up their grip on certain industries and just let's get people working again. I mean, it is promising to see all the investments being put into defense now.
Yeah,
However, that's a tricky industry for, like you said, youth, young adults to break into, obviously, with the nature of that industry, right? The clearances needed, the expertise needed, all of those things. But I think there might be a sliver of that investment that should be open to young people with crazy ideas. What do I mean? Like, so Canada is investing $1 billion in defense innovation, including drone tech.
yeah,
Right. So, and they want it to be domestic innovation, right? So, a significant portion allocated to drone technology and aerospace advancements as a broader defense industrial strategy aimed at strengthening our defense economy. I think there should be a sliver of that fund that's open to people with crazy ideas, not just the massive defense contractors that's, they will build you a drone and sell it to you for 2 million.
yeah.
We need people who are building these rugged, robust drone technologies that are significantly cheaper.
I agree. Government is doing that. They're giving half obviously to Bombardier, which everybody knows. Bombardier is the one that they told them they should do this, do that, and then create 1 billion. Bombardier takes half of it.
Yeah.
I've been watching Better Call Saul, so it's like I send you this, I help you fix this problem, but you give me 50% cuts. That's shout out to you, Bombardier. I don't know what you all are doing at the back end, but 500 million goes to Bombardier. But they also building like defense innovation hubs. So like startups that, like if you're coming out of school building a startup, came out mechanical engineering, civil engineering, any of those engineering building companies,
Yeah.
there's funding for that about 200 what? About what? They said there will be some funding for innovation hubs in Ottawa and Montreal.
161. No, that's
So 161 million for, but I'm assuming that other than the 500 million, that the other half of the 500 million will be spent on innovation hubs. So for startups and companies or innovation ideas that people are coming out either of school or just new ideas, starting new companies.
yeah.
And then part of that other half would also include quantum technology and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I think one of the lessons from the war in the Middle East right now is that it's one thing to have a great military, but if that military is so expensive,
every step I take
is a million of dollars, right? Like as opposed to having these rugged, cheap options available at your disposal. So if you need to, God forbid, you need to, it's not going to cost Canadians billions of dollars.
I mean, we don't even have billions of dollars.
Which we don't have, right? So I think we should really, as where, yes, our eyes have opened up. It's like, okay, we cannot depend on the US for our defense. We need to figure out things ourselves. Let's not go there and make the same mistake that the US makes and build these super.
Yeah, and also have like these massive defense contractors.
Yeah.
Like, hopefully Bombardier is not that, but I don't like when all these big people would collect money.
Yeah.
And okay, government has already given you money. You now build something and now you now sell it back to the government for
Millions of dollars.
so what is the amount of money they give you as a grant? And it's like, man, at this point is
That's the story of Canada's life, right? So
yeah, it's crazy.
we'll
It's
get
crazy.
some other stories to that effect, but it's having like I think the government has to we need to figure out a way to hold the government accountable to return on investment. I think the idea that for let's say Carney or the Minister of Defense or whatever, X years down the line, for them they will be campaigning and be saying things like, "We increased the defense budget by $1 billion" or something like that. I'm like, that's not like what was the return on that investment? Like that's not something to campaign on, right? The Minister of Industry, oh, we signed XYZ agreement with these, like we give them X $1 million. I'm like, okay, but then what did we get in return? I think the government should think of itself as a venture capital.
Yeah, investor. Yeah, I was about to say that. Like,
They're either investing or giving loans, grants and contributions. I think we need to rethink that strategy. Like, I get how they incentivize, ideas, business, but a lot of businesses will still open if all they get is venture capital funds.
yeah, if all they get is venture capital funds, yes, it's still open. But then the question now becomes: is the government going to start understanding all the equity it owns and all the like? Maybe that's where the work of the bureaucracy comes
That's
in.
where they hire how many 100,000 people? Like, I mean, like, maybe now you focus your hiring on people who understand these things.
But also too, some of these like quote unquote investments that don't have any percentage equity stake in it, they come back with conditions, right? That's why they're able to sue like the Stellantis and all of those people that are like, hey,
Are we able to sue them?
we should be like, hey,
Our industry minister said she did not read
Madam
the-
Julie said,
she did not read the agreement. She said she was going to sue them, but I don't think we have any legs to stand on there.
no, we can't just give it 2 billion and you just get
I
off
don't-
and walk.
you'd be surprised. I don't think we have any legs to stand on that one.
Yeah, that one,
But that goes to my problem statement. I'm like, if that was a loan, if that was
I think it was a grant, like, or cash
I don't like
injection.
hearing grants and I don't like
And
hearing
also too, I don't even
contributions.
think it's even like, most times it's usually like a what they call this, deferred taxes or tax reduction. So sometimes it's not necessarily money government is giving. Yeah, taxes some go to the government, and the fact that they're deferring it or cutting it in going into the future is an investment for
It
the
should
government.
count as an investment, and the government should have either voting shares or
Yeah.
non-voting shares, whatever, but they should have some sort of stake in whatever they're investing in.
True. Again, I don't want the government to start doing crown corporation discount, crown corporation
Not
that.
crown corporations. I'm thinking of it like if you, for example, want to invest in a company, you buy shares of that company, right?
Yes.
And then if you want to take part in the annual general meeting of shareholders, you can and make your voice heard. And depending on how many shares you have, that's how strong your vote is.
I don't know if companies want, like, I don't think you want the government to be on your board of directors.
But if I'm going to collect money from the government,
And then you have Makani at your table and be like, you know what? Here's what I want you to give.
the industry minister should be at the table. So then it's up to me to be like, okay, well, I don't want your 2 billion.
Government does that with like EDC, right? Or there's a Fed innovation. I've forgotten that. Like the way Ontario has something that does like also an arm of Ontario that invests in health tech. I remember back in the days in technology startup, Ontario had like an arm that was investing in technology
Yeah, kind
startup.
of like a development bank.
Yeah, like a kind of a development bank. I think the government has that. It's just that at some level, especially some public companies, there's no way this money is going to come with.
The way I'm thinking about it is, instead of hiring full-time bureaucrats and administrative support staff just indefinitely, maybe some of the roles in public sector are wealth managers.
Yeah, sovereign wealth fund would be,
And all that money, they're managing their funds in maybe a portfolio of a certain type of investment.
maybe we should get whoever is doing the Canadian pension fund to come and invest in a lot of these companies. Because that fund looks to be doing well, left, right, and center.
Yeah,
They'll be borrowing money left,
pension
right,
fund, they'll be pulling money out of it. And
they'll be pulling money out of it, which is crazy. But yeah, like I think we should invest in our innovation. Maybe also another tactic is but we don't have a lot of companies that are doing defense technology. So that's why they're going the innovation hub route. And the only other company we have in Canada is Bombardier. Like,
No, there's a few. I mean, maybe some of them are American
yeah,
companies.
everyone is coming from left, right, and center.
Yeah.
You don't want to give them.
You know, they still collect the money, sure. Yeah. Universities, like people who are studying mechatronics and mechanical engineering.
Yeah, this is where the defense innovation hub would benefit those. You're coming out of university.
No, while they're in
No,
university,
even while you're in university,
your projects are building these drones and building these things.
fair. And then you give those like, you allow the universities to create those innovation hubs for those students to build startups and use those startups to defend Canada.
Yeah.
Arctic and so on and so forth.
That's how you create more companies, no? Like you can't wait for someone to finish school and then now they have to pay bills. So you're like, oh yeah, come start this company. It's like, would have been nice to have started it while I was in school.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
You start there, money is injected, you start to scale.
yeah.
Right? You and your colleagues and your classmates, you're like, okay, let's build this thing for real. Then
Yeah.
money you build and then you sell back to the government. These low cost defense technologies, and maybe they're not quite defense technologies, but like they're the starting point for
For the
defense
defense
technology. Like,
technology,
you now
yeah.
take what they've built and add whatever layers on top of it, and boom.
I mean, let's see. This 500 million is a good first start. Let's see if it brings about any innovative companies. Again, these are things that took some other government 10 years to even think about, and in 1 year of Carney's government, like this is literally his first year.
If he did not come into the situation we were in with the Donald, essentially telling Canada to figure out our lives.
So I say you should be grateful that like when they kick you out of your parents' basement.
That's what I said. I think it was the first or second episode. I'm like, we have been kicked out of our house. Of our parents' house.
Of the parents'
And we
house.
have to fend for ourselves.
Well,
So now we
Let's
have to
say
figure it
Carney
out.
has done a good job for the first year, and let's see how this turn
Let's
around.
not talk about good job yet, but there are some positive things.
Yeah.
Right. So that's good. And I think actually no, I was gonna say the low Earth orbit satellites, but that was Justin Trudeau.
Oh yeah, the lowest. Yeah, and I think that was an investment in one of the satellite companies in Quebec too.
No, Telesat is it's in Ottawa.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, I'm sure they have offices.
they probably have offices also in Quebec also, or was it the MDA Space? Is it Canadian?
There's MDA Space as
That's a
well.
Canadian space company, right? I believe.
But
Telesat is
most of them are-
definitely
But
like.
they're trying to build I guess a Starlink rival.
Hey.
So
Elon Musk is no longer
covering satellite internet.
covering satellite internet. One of these days, somebody should tell us what is happening in space. Because the way all these people be going off like is like a bus stop.
But by the time the rest of us regular folks figure out space, space has been sold to the millionaires
It's
and the
no longer
billionaires.
space
It's
anymore.
no more space.
This is a full-on land.
Bro, we'll be hustling for scraps because I guess the haves and the have-nots.
I've carried it, man. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Space it's Brampton.
Brampton? Oh, yeah. I saw they had like a contract recently. MDA Space in Brampton.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Brampton.
Coming in hot, bro.
No shade to Brampton, man. Like, Brampton is like, what's the mayor of Brampton again that he ran for the conservative leadership back in the days? Yeah. That they alleged he was taking bribe from a lot of Indian companies yeah, Patrick, right? Patrick Brown.
Oh, I remember that
You
story.
remember the
Yeah, I
story?
remember that story.
Yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, the fact that you have like a space company, that's yeah, he's a young guy. He was supposed to be like the up and coming challenger to it was literally both of them that
And then they had the scandal.
obviously some of the opposition will see that's it.
Couple research.
Awful research from some crazy politicians that really happened is people they really wanted Pierre.
They dug into this
They
guy.
dug in and
He
they,
has a great laugh
he literally-
for Brampton. That's
he literally came back.
gonna get cancelled.
Alright, then. If it goes to Brampton and they don't give us any space, you know why. You know why.
Gonna make you weird transition.
Just talking about Brampton. Talking about Brampton and China cars. You know what you're about to say? Naji. But there's a place where, like, that's where most of the factories usually are. Like, for building cars. Oh, Windsor too. Windsor has a few of them.
Yeah. Yeah, Windsor is close to Detroit, which is kind of the auto whatever for the US.
But I told you, BYD is actually considering.
Okay, I'm glad you used the correct word. I thought you were gonna say BYD is gonna. In fact, they're doing worse than considering. They're exploring the possibility of.
So they are exploring the possibility of building, but they are considering either building or acquiring rival manufacturing plants to do cars.
But that's just a one-for-one replacement. That second one, but I'd be open to the idea of them building. Obviously, if they start building their own factories and their own cars here in Canada, your whole argument about cheaper EVs coming in, it goes out the window because those EVs not gonna be
going
cheap.
to be cheap.
Not
Don't
gonna be
worry. Don't worry. Trust BYDs. Wait, what do they do? They'll start charging money for BYDs.
No, I mean, like, if you're gonna make it using Canadian labor, like, it's not gonna be the
Canadian
same
labor
as
is
Chinese labor.
is obviously more expensive than Chinese labor, but still,
Not to mention Canadian regulation, bro. They don't even know what's coming for them.
it's electric. And they've also, one thing I also learned from this research, they have actually most of their automation in their China plant is like is a whole another level. Like other car manufacturers are going to BYD to learn how to do manufacturing of EVs and cars in this day and age. Like no one is doing like the old school manufacturing.
They are the biggest.
They are the biggest in China. They've figured out a way to also do their newest battery technology is light years ahead. Well, light years might be crazy, but a lot of car manufacturers in like these are US car manufacturers and EU car manufacturers are now supplying them parts like chips or batteries or technology for the cars. Obviously not building the whole cars, but they are sourcing them for BYD. So it's a move. The fact they can even acquire
Established global car manufacturer. That's how they put it. They are the biggest car manufacturer in China.
and they've also overtaken Teslas as the most electric cars sold.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, Teslas are expensive and you don't get much for the money you pay.
Yeah.
Beyond his AI technology
That never comes. California actually told them to stop saying
full self-driving.
that. But anyways, again, BYDs, when we talk about new world order and leadership and communication, and this would never this consideration would never have happened on previous leadership.
No.
It would never have happened.
Maybe JT might have, but
it will never have happened on JT's watch. It will never have happened.
it has not happened, first of all. So let's
I'm
not
getting the
get carried away.
consideration.
Yeah,
The fact that the
exploration of the possibility of. She said they would want to own and operate any potential Canadian factory, though.
yeah, all the other car manufacturers that have come and have taken money and messed us up left, right, and center have owned and operated car manufacturing. So own and operate, fine by me. What does that mean? Canadian labor gets hired. What does that also mean? Canadian skill fully gets used.
I don't know. Like, usually when they say own and operate, it sounds like they want full control over what goes on in those factories.
They will get full control, but you will probably still hire Canadians.
You'd be surprised.
There's also some apparently security concerns about BYD using proprietary Chinese AI
Yeah.
technology.
See, you all have
We lose sovereignty over the factories, intellectual property,
what I've
data.
realized, America has brainwashed a lot of people about China.
Yeah.
America has done
And
a
vice
good
versa.
job.
Find us in Shanghai next year.
America has done a good job. Xi Jinping, I'm not clapping for you here, but just know I'm speaking facts here. America has done a good marketing job against China, making people feel like, you know what, this is like a scary bad wolf. America is a scary bad wolf.
Like I said, and vice versa. Both of them are doing their propaganda games. My challenge is we cannot run away from one scary bad wolf and go in bed with another scary bad wolf.
Again, I don't think China is a scary bad wolf. I think China is just doing things in their interest.
America is also doing things in their interest.
But America is doing things.
When will Canada do things in our own interest?
We're diversifying.
Diversifying the wolf that we go in bed with.
No, I'm saying America like has always been, oh yeah, would do American interest first, but now even beyond just doing American interest, destroying other people from even having a space at the table. It's just like China is saying, hey, we can. There's room enough for everybody to eat at this table. It's called global economic prosperity, which America has literally got off that table and said, you know what, it's only America only prosperity that they know.
I think
Because China, see, think about it. First of all, like bringing technology, they will own and operate, but the fact that is happening in your country, that means people get to see how it's done. There's this transfer of knowledge and information. Like if you start a BYD, you go to that company, another company can come and start in Canada, do like some competition, bring down the cost of cap reduction, spread the ideas. That's what we want, not like the old ways of. We actually want the people that are supplying the future. We want the future in Canada, and that's what Kanye was saying in Davos.
Yeah,
and this is literally lining up to be ahead of what's happening in the next 3, 4, 5 years.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right about that one. I'd like to see the jobs come to Canada. I think the prices of the EVs will go up as a result.
It will go up.
Yeah.
Like BYD in China will be cheaper than BYD in Canada or Brazil.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, importing them versus making them here, and I think making them here might just be kind of a workaround of the limitation and the number of EVs that can come in.
Fair. But also for them, it's strategic. It opens up a whole market.
Yeah.
Right. If you have 40 million Canadians and you're literally sitting ready to go into 200 million Americans, that is the partnership that Kanye is selling to people. Trump is not going to be around for so long.
I wonder what's going to happen when USMCA negotiations start.
No, but I think Kanye knows like that's toast.
What is toast?
Like that whole USMCA is going. He's already going to Mexico to do a bilateral. He's going to all these people to like. I think like from what I've seen, Kanye knows something about USMCA not getting the green light.
Yeah, but if it doesn't get the green, light, that doesn't bode well for Canada.
Without all the deals he's cutting, yeah, it's not going to
Because
bode well.
now Canada has to manufacture things, and then to sell them, we literally have to ship them elsewhere.
Yeah, but that's why we are doing Kanye is in the Nordic, Norway, and all those people.
I know.
Partnership, China partnership.
For one, whatever we produce is going to be expensive.
And also too, he's going to do the Mexican
and then we
bilateral
now add
partnership.
the cost of shipping plus whatever tariff we have to pay when we get to wherever we're going.
So
to
I don't know
get
if
to.
USMCA is going to go away for like it's just not going to be as rich and dense as it was in terms of the tariff exemptions. Right, US wants to send in their agriculture and milk and dairy products. Canada is literally has built up a wall, no go, and then they'll start chopping off on other things. Auto manufacturers have already gone. We're already feeling the pain. That's probably the worst that has happened, and it probably be reinforced in USMCA.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's going on. Is like, hey, we're already seeing the writing on the wall. Those car manufacturers in US already know what's happening in terms of USMCA. They want to affect our auto and steel the way they feel like we are affecting their agriculture and dairy.
Yeah.
So Kanye is going around trying to find other opportunities. BYD is the first one. I think other car manufacturers will start to develop out of Canada as a result. But yeah, let's again, USMCA is going to be, if Kanye is not doing all the partnerships he's doing across the world, then we're just pretty much begging Donald Trump to extend USMCA.
So does Pierre know something that the rest of us don't? Because he's talking about anyway, let's see. So Pierre Poilievre is proposing to remove the GST from Canadian-made vehicles and eliminate tariffs on their sale in the US. What's his plan to eliminate US tariffs on Canadian-made vehicle? Like, I'm not sure I understand where he's going.
I think he said he's going to US to do like a whole tour. I don't know how he's going to eliminate the tariffs on their sale. Maybe that's like a negotiation tactic with USMCA.
Why is he doing that though?
probably going to allow it. The only way this would fly is if he knows a way to fix USMCA. I think USMCA, the main arguing point here is agriculture and dairy, and that Canada doesn't want to move on. So I don't know if Pierre is saying I would move on it to allow tax-free exemptions for Canadian-made cars.
I guess we'll have to run
But
the
that
numbers
would
on
be
that one.
politically suicidal.
Yeah, because like what? Like how many cars are we possibly gonna sell to the US where they also make their own cars? Versus them flooding our market with US milk and cheese, and
The idea is
it probably drive the price down
it will
for
drive the price down.
those things.
Yeah, it will probably drive the price down. But also too, if you don't tax, if you remove the GST on Canadian-made cars, Canadians buying Canadian-made cars cheaper.
Yeah,
Right, so you remove like 10% or so right off the bat, and then also selling internationally Canadian-made cars is also cheaper. That's probably what BID is doing. That's cheaper there. I don't think China subsidizes most of their economic engines, right?
so go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, if we're leaving this topic, I just have a few fun facts.
Okay, wait.
We could do searching or against AI searches. So BYD's founder is somebody called, this is also Wikipedia, Wang Chongfu, 14th richest person in China as
Wow.
2021.
Okay.
$23.5 billion.
23.5 and the 14th is wild though. In China.
2008. Do you want to guess who invested in BYD?
Elon Musk.
Warren Buffett.
Oh yeah. Warren Buffett. I actually read that off. That Warren Buffett was what 20% or so, a huge chunk of equity. Warren Buffett needs something.
30 million US dollars for 9.89%.
9.8%. That's
Wow.
huge. And that was in 2009, right?
It's
Yo, way before our time. Hey, there's something about the marketing that all the big boys up there don't know.
Bruh.
They do things different. They know China. Tesla opened up a factory in China. Like all of these things, we'll be saying China is this, China is that.
Yeah, I'm not
They're
saying China is
marketing-
anything. All
They're
I'm
marketing
saying
to us as small people.
we are running away from the US and going to bed with China.
I mean, we have a lot of. It would be cool to, but the fact that it's 14th richest in China. What if 13 above you?
There's also rich people in China though.
So we're saying communist China, bro. We
it's
should be.
also apparently part of the Communist Party.
There's nothing called communist. If you're the 14th richest person in,
I feel like most of the people in the Chinese Communist Party,
look, everybody in China is part of the Communist Party. So let's
I mean the people who actually make the rules.
these people don't make no rules, bro.
What?
It's called the Communist Party because everybody's involved.
That's very funny. That is very funny.
If you're the 14th richest person in China, bro, who is number one? Alibaba.
Nah, those guys, they really dealt with him because he went against the
Yeah, fair.
Then any other facts there or
I mean, like, it's giving, like, rags to riches, grew up
Yeah, everybody has most of this road, like sure.
its child household. But
Hey.
basically, like, by 2008, became a billionaire
Hmm.
because of the investment. Yeah, they were impacted by 2017 and 2019. There was like a electric vehicle government subsidy, but they were able to come out of that. Quote unquote was their darkest moments while they were still making movies.
they're still the biggest car manufacturer.
They're still the biggest guy. But also, yeah, well, BYDs, please bring them over. I'd love to see.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what that looks like having other.
Yo, we used to have Huawei phones, and we thought those things slapped because they were always ahead of the curve.
Yeah, I still
And they-
think Huawei phones are great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the marketing that most of these people are telling us, oh, sovereign AI, Huawei AI.
See, my problem is not about China as a country. My problem is, well, maybe to an extent, it's like, okay, we leave one superpower and we go to bed with another. Like, can we go make trade deals where we somehow have the upper hand? Like, we don't have the upper hand in any of these deals.
Yeah, but again, you start from somewhere and you gain the upper hand over time. We're just starting from somewhere. And over time, Candy is not saying that we're going to be stuck here. It's like, let us start building that momentum. Things start happening. People start coming over building. Like, and also Pierre's idea is actually good here. I don't think he's saying these are going to be Canadian companies. These are going to be American companies coming to Canada,
Yeah, to
getting
make
cheap,
cars.
literally, which is the same thing that China companies coming to Canada to make cars.
Hey, it's the devil will be in the details, so let's wait for how this thing is gonna get executed. I do like, however, the agreement. I guess that one is, yeah, we've reached an agreement with Mexico to sell our Canadian
Canadian potatoes.
potatoes. So that's finally one thing that can be like, okay, check mark. Okay, he has actually done something.
He's all of these things. When you start flooding in, I don't want you to be saying, "Oh yeah, Kanye, good job, good
He
job,
has
good
done
job."
something, so we can give him a round of applause for selling our Canadian potatoes to Mexico.
But we didn't give him a round of applause for the lentils deal.
Which one?
Yeah, it says, what was the one? No, that was the soybean, right? To China. What was the one that we got?
Canola and
The
stuff.
canola and stuff. Yeah. We got the canola deal. Even like,
We did not. We would not come out on top in that deal, as far as I'm concerned.
okay, fair. But here too, the fact that we're allowed to export Canadian potatoes to Mexico.
So here is what I was saying before. So good first step. Like I'm glad to hear that we came to this deal. Blah blah blah. We asked for the same access that the US has, and it's granted. Whatnot. Here's where my spidey senses went up, though.
What did we give up?
Exactly. But not really. What did we give up? So we reached an agreement with Mexico to allow fresh Canadian potatoes to be exported for consumption and processing.
Okay.
So yes, what did we give up? That's something that I need to know as well, but I'm not sure what it is. But the processing part is what caught my eyes. Because Canada usually gets sucked into these weird deals where we sell our raw materials to a country, they process it and sell it back to us at a premium. And I'm like, how do we keep getting suckered into these types of deals?
No, but I don't think this processing would come back to Canada. I think because in Canada, we have one of the McCain family. They own like potato processing across Canada. I think they have a stronghold on that. I know they're having like some issues, but I think they have a stronghold on that.
I hope that is the case, because the way I see it is you sell these potatoes to Mexico and they come back at a much cheaper price than McCain. I don't know what kind of stronghold they have, but when price is talking,
It's like, here, let's get this cheaper version.
They will promote our market.
Potato.
kick our own suppliers out of the market. So that's where I'm like, how do we protect ourselves from that kind of behavior? We reach an agreement, we're selling our raw material, whether it's crude oil or potatoes, and then we now go back and buy the refined fuel. And
But either way, it's like raw material potato is potato anyway. Like, we can go buy the same potato and refine it ourselves. Nobody's telling us we have to go.
all I'm saying is my spidey senses went up. So if in another 5-6 years there's now news report Canada selling raw materials to Mexico only to buy it back at 10 times the price. Just know it was first said on this podcast.
It was first said here. No, like, I think it's a good job that Carney is going ahead. USMCA, he's trying to give Canada a soft landing in the impacts of it. Whatever the deal is, you're talking about having the upper hand. Whatever, I think Carney is going into this review, and the funny thing is, like, nothing. It's just a review this summer. It's not even like the end of the deal. It's a review of the deal, probably to figure out the temperature and if there can be a renewal. It probably will not be a renewal, and they'll still be on shaky ground for another year.
And just wait Trump out.
Exactly, because we're starting to build out and get leverage with some of these deals to buy us time and gain the upper hand. So hey, shout out to McCartney for setting this up.
Hey, the devil will be in the details, so let's wait for how
Don't
this
worry,
thing gets
McCartney is good at what he does. He's good at what he does, because, like, I know about the floor crossing.
Man, I'm ready to talk about the floor crossing, because he's talking about it before. I'm like, what is going on? Like,
Yo, you know what? Actually, I was thinking about this on my drive this afternoon. Carney is not all talk.
this is fraud as far as I'm
No. Carney is not all talk. Because if you can talk your way to get people to come to your side, then I'd rather him be prime minister.
No. So, I mean, let's say the story for the listeners. So, NDP MP Laurie Idlaut joins Liberals, bringing the party closer to
It is already a majority. Let's not say closer.
Yeah, it's essentially, at this
Majority.
point, it's essentially a majority. So,
She won the majority plus an extra member.
MP from Nunavut, so she crossed the floor to join the Liberal Party and
And NDP.
NDP. I mean,
Talking
NDP
about
is enough to.
diversity.
No. Let's not get carried.
Diversity.
Let's talk about the ridiculousness of these backroom deals.
Backroom deals, my guy.
Guy,
You're telling me that Kanye is all talk, but his talk is making people move.
Kanye is committing fraud as far as I'm concerned.
His talk is making people move.
No.
And not one type of person move. NDP and conservatives move. So think about it. Who would you rather be making talks on global stage? Somebody that's able to bring people together.
No, whatever he's doing is worrisome. Because
She said that he did not pay her.
do you think he's going to come and announce that he paid her? Like what?
No, he said like she did not pay her. He did not promise her anything. Like,
See,
it's all on looking at. In fact, she said, from what Kanye has been doing, me staying in the NDP will be betraying none of what people.
is she high? I think a serious conversation must be had about elected officials specifically crossing the floor. I think it is an act.
Elected.
It is an act of election fraud as far as I'm concerned. It's a loophole.
no.
Figure out what party is likely to win in a riding. You get someone elected under that party's flag, and then have them defect in a matter of months to your own party. Scam. The voters are the losers here. Like what? They voted for NDP. They want the radio type people who are going to be hugging trees. That's what they voted for. They want it.
It was by slim margin. Look, it was by slim margin.
I don't care what the margin is.
About voters, that means it was split. 50% wanted Liberals, 50% wanted NDP.
And NDP won.
Even if that's the case, if Kanye calls an election today, it's not even this tiny majority that he's going to be getting a massive
NDP, they're not
majority.
free huggers. NDP, they're all universal everything.
No,
No one looks like chat is agreeing with you.
wait,
100%.
what?
Thank
No.
you.
The Liberals are forcing a majority something.
Thank you. People vote. There's a reason why people
Let me
vote
tell you
in
something.
election.
Let me tell you something.
You cannot vote for XYZ and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, thank you for voting for me. They give their victory speech, blah, blah, blah. Okay, adios. I'm gonna go join the leading. Like what?
See, also too, think about it. It's not just I think we're focusing on NDP. Look at the diversity of the people that have left their parties to join. What does that tell you about McCartney's message?
He's a fraud.
Naji.
That's all it tells.
It tells you that he's able to present a message and talk a message that people can rally behind.
No, that's not what it tells me. It tells me
You
that
cannot fraudulently tell 4 different types of people from different parties.
no, it was 2 conservatives,
Yeah.
1 NDP.
3 conservatives, 1 NDP.
Okay.
But these are like, obviously, the Toronto conservative, which is unheard of, right? Pretty much a liberal.
Pretty much a liberal.
But
NDP is also pretty much a
in the
liberal.
north. NDP holds the north a lot. So you can say, okay, this is like pretty much an NDP area, right?
Hence the fraud.
And then you have so you have a Toronto conservative liberal, basically. The 2 Toronto.
Yeah, Toronto conservative
You have
leaders
an
are mindless
Edmonton.
conservatives.
Okay, you have an Edmonton conservative and you have a Nova Scotian conservative. These are like very, very opposing views, and they listen to Kanye, and beyond their party, they're like, you know what, this is something we should rally around for Canada so that his agenda can move on. See,
No, there's a reason why Canada has opposition parties, and it's not always the case that the leading party has the majority.
it's not always the case. And Kanye is
Check
not
and
even
balance.
Kanye is not even trying to call for an election. He's not trying to call for an election. But do you know what? My point is, on an international stage, it gives me more confidence that he's able to get people to follow or buy into his idea for Canada. So if he's able to convince his oppositions to come and rally behind him, well, see,
No, all he has to do is convince them to vote with whatever he wants to do. He does not need them to defect. Like,
Yeah, but you cannot vote for it. That's even crazy betrayal.
no, let them vote and let them get unelected. That's what. Let them face the consequences of their decisions.
But that's what we were doing, and people were not happy with. Like, well, what was it? Excellence. No, not excellence. Who's the general? Right? He was absentee in a lot of the vote.
That's not what an absentee people should also get
Because the whip for the conservatives will not allow you to come in and vote against what the conservatives are trying to vote.
See, too bad. Run again as a liberal and see if you win.
See, Canada cannot afford 4 years of staying shut, keeping your mouth shut when we're in a very, very interesting situation. I personally think that, although I don't want Canada to have a majority, the fact that it's an NDP that crossed, I'm fine. If I saw another conservative cross, I probably would be with you. But as NDP crossing, bro, like, at this point, all I need Canada to do is converse the block. If the block moves over to liberals, man, I'm like, dude, I want them to negotiating everything. I even want him to negotiate my next job.
If the block moves over, we're gonna need an investigation. That's like we're gonna have to look at all his bank accounts and what any kind of
No. Kanye knows better than to be bribing. He's not one. He knows better than to be bribing.
guy. See, as far as I'm concerned, the moment you defect, snap elections.
No, but the thing is, this has always happened. That's the beauty of our parliamentary system.
No, don't say the beauty. There's nothing beautiful about it.
It's the beauty of our parliamentary system.
Our parliamentary system is getting abused by Marcani and his.
See, Marcani is not chaining anybody to like he has not given anybody ministerial positions. He has not given anyone, like, all he's saying is he's giving you 1 year to see his agenda for Canada, and if you're buying it, I'm pretty sure MP Laurie saw that he went to the Arctic region, and how many billion did he announce in the Arctic? About 33
Why
billion
does she
investment.
have to defect? Like, it makes no sense.
Hey, my people are seeing what you're doing and are right behind you. If everyone in Univox is telling her, look, even the tiny margin she won with on NDP, if some of them are like, look, actually, like, if there's someone of them like
resign.
If you're someone like me that's like, okay, all the people that were really NDP have now moved to liberals in your riding, and you're still staying NDP, they're telling me, I'll go and tell my MP now, if you want to defect, I'm behind you.
Our MP is liberal, no?
So he's actually liberal.
Yeah, she's gonna do.
If the person I voted for, when I thought Pierre was the savior of Canada, I would tell him, like, go defect.
Nah. You defect, snap election.
Nah, man, you can't be doing like.
See, at its best, like, see, here's the other abuse of our parliamentary thing. In the current parliamentary session, 50% of the bills that have reached their final reading in the House of Commons has to be without a recorded vote.
No, but they have come out from committees. They have gone. Like,
I don't care where they came out from.
So here's the question on, like, floor persons. So the MP of Nunavut, does she remain the MP?
Yes, that's my problem.
Yeah, she remains the
She
MP.
remains the MP, but now as liberal.
So then, during the next election, she has to run as a liberal.
Yeah, but who knows when the next election is going to be?
yeah, it's going to be in 3 years too.
Sure, if Marcani calls an election.
No, you call an election every 4 years.
We don't trust this
We
guy.
call no. We call that one is like, even JT was calling elections every 4 years. So
JP called elections in 2 years too.
yeah. See, what I did not want Kanye to do was call another election, because it's just like pointless. We've had like federal elections back to back. He has called 3 by-elections though. I think liberals will sweep those by-elections, unfortunately. And it should tell, so yeah, how about this? Let's see what happens in this by-election. If liberals don't sweep, then I'll probably say Canadians are still divided. But if liberals sweep the 3 by-elections he called in Toronto and in Quebec, then the writing is on the wall, regardless of what happens.
That's not how politics work. People vote for what they want.
I'm saying, even if he calls a by-election now, it would be different if he was unpopular. He's massively popular by like double digits. Like, if it's possible to be popular by triple digits, it's probably popular. But I'm saying, like, it doesn't matter if he calls an election or not. Canada is behind Marcani. The ridings telling their MPs, go behind McCartney on
That's
this.
not what people are saying.
Dude, I'm telling
Nobody's
you, like,
telling anybody to cross the floor, please.
it doesn't make sense. Why would Nunuvo tell people, like, the writer in Nunuvo tell the MPs still stay NDP? NDP does not have a leader. NDP does not have a party. NDP, like, you want to be where things are happening.
I understand that NDPs, yes, they're a joke of a political party, but people voted for NDP.
Actually, they have a temporary leader. What do you call them? Like,
Interim.
interim leader. Like, and then also a few of the party members are resigning to provincial politics. So
I understand
if I was
the
the
of the party.
I'll tell you, look, when we were voting, because we all thought we have been NDPs for decades, but at this point, there's no NDP anymore. Go to liberals. And she's listening to her. If there's anyone I believe that is not playing politics on the floor course, is this lady. Like, on the other people, maybe some kind of politics there, but who knows? I'm not going to, because the one said, "Oh, I resigned for family reasons," came back and said,
that was the wildest one, man. I'm like, the Edmonton guy. I'm like, just resign.
General.
Resign. Let your party retain leadership or whatever, or if that's how it works, or you just go straight to election. Like, there's no need to, you get elected on one platform and then you defect to another. Like, I don't know. It not seem shitty. It is shitty. And then the idea that 50% of the bills that have reached their final reading in the House have passed without a recorded vote. That's another wild one. And the reason they give is that, well, if we do a vote, it will trigger an election. I'm like, okay, if it triggers an election, who cares? Like, that's the whole point of our parliamentary system.
I don't think it will trigger an election, Loki.
It could, but that's why they're not. So why are they not voting? Why are they just letting?
I think it's also like, there's no point of fighting because we don't have the numbers to fight on this.
No, they have no. You know, they have the numbers.
Okay.
And they know that if they do a vote, the bill is not going to pass, and it could trigger an election.
So it says, like, yeah, the current makeup of the House might explain why parties are more frequently to forgo head count. The Liberals are just a few seats shy of majority government and need supportive. So at least 2 bills that have passed in Tedry. Oh, so yeah, that's the budget. Okay, yeah, the budget would have been a confident vote if the head count had been taken and the Liberals lost and the government will fall out. Yeah, I don't think anybody wants an election though.
See, I don't care what anybody wants. We have a system of government that can trigger an election if the vote fails.
I also don't think Pierre wants an election. Look,
like I said, I don't care what they want or what anybody wants.
No, see, again,
the problem is the fact that a vote can trigger an election. If that is a problem, fix the problem.
So he's fixed the problem.
Not with this loophole.
No, because it's like, not even like, it's like, you know what? How many of you don't want to vote on party lines? Raise up your hands. 3 conservatives, 1 NDP. All right.
Cross the floor.
That is a scam. Because what is going to happen is those conservatives truly don't buy this bill left, right, and center. But because you're in that party and you have to vote along party lines, or else
you don't have to vote along party lines.
Technically
you vote for what your constituents want you to vote.
So talking about constituents, you cross the floor on what your constituents voted along party lines. Then what do we need to go back on elections?
Let's go back.
No, it's not along party lines. This is not an individual. You are an individual MP regardless of the party.
Our system is built to trigger an election. Let the election be triggered.
Yeah, but
if that is the problem, fix the problem.
The problem is our system is thinking of parliamentary, or the common parliamentary is meant to be individual MPs, but then we'll wrap parties around it. So now the issue is like, oh, we really want to vote, head count vote. You don't want to look like you're abusing your leader, you're going against your leader, this, that, and the third. Alright, let me just take myself out of this party and caucus and go and stay where the Liberals are and vote yes on all of these bills.
See, MPs get paid a lot of money to work. And their work is to negotiate and argue and vote. I don't care what anybody wants, but they should do their job and earn their salary, their sitting allowance, their wardrobe allowance, their RL. They get paid way too much to circumvent the rules. Like, they should figure it out either by negotiation, however they want to figure it out, they should do it and then they should vote. I want to know who the person I voted for. How does he vote on issues of the budget, the economy. I want to know what they are voting. Let me see it, so I know next time if I should vote for them or not.
See, me, next time, I've seen that the people that I want are actually the liberals.
This is how people get scammed in the life.
No, I'm telling you. And then I also applaud. I don't. Okay. It's not like I applaud floor crossers. Let's just put it that. I understand the nuances of why, for example, the NDP lorry crossed the floor. I understand maybe like who was the first one that crossed? I've forgotten his name. The first conservative,
Yeah,
Nova Scotia.
yeah.
Yeah, he crossed. Okay, maybe you're starting to see that. All right, Nova Scotia was very, very close margin. Like all of these things were just on the margin. So pretty much, if you go, if it was one person that made you get elected, and that one person comes back and says, you know what, actually, now I'm on the liberal side.
Too late. That's not how elections. Also, what does it say about the actual liberal that ran and did not win?
Hey, people.
So if you want to cross the floor, but get out of your seats. Let that liberal that ran, let him come and take your place.
That's actually, I think that's a good point. That's
No,
something I
it's still terrible.
that's something I can deal with. Like, let the liberals come, and then let's just have a nice majority, and let's just move. Initially, the only thing I'm a bit worried about liberal majority is if Harney is going to start acting like a politician and just relax, because he has been working.
He has not been working.
He has been working, man.
But see, here's the loophole with that whole floor crossing thing. So the liberal, let's say Carney has negotiated with some of these conservatives and NDP people pre-election
Yeah,
that they will cross the floor,
yeah.
but still run as a conservative, will have a liberal run as a liberal. So now he has two liberals essentially running. He has doubled his chances of winning. Whether the liberal wins or the
So that's
conservative
the
wins, the
primary.
liberal has won. Like, that's why this is election fraud. Like, as far as I'm concerned, something has to be done about it.
See, the only way we know is election fraud is if you start to see, like, if obviously we have like a watch party or watchdog that just goes through to see what is changing hands and what is happening financially.
Yeah.
But I think Kanye is just, again, I think it is a stock and the plan and the agenda he's been preaching on that has been setting up a lot of folks to believe in his. A lot of people who are pretty like, yeah, I don't trust this Carney guy day one. I'm going to still stay NDP and conservatives. Like I was like that. Day two, yeah, I still don't
Because of
trust.
soccer, they're crossing floor. That's what you're saying.
Day three, I still don't trust. Day 260, I'm like, man, look, I've seen your consistency. I've seen what you're all about and things you're making sure that people start to unbelieve about liberals. And your footers.
Watch Marcani get a majority and then
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing I'll say. I will stand corrected.
my
if he gets
guy
it.
my guy just does 180-degree turn about a ton.
Left, right. All you focusers. Look, I'm the captain now. Look at me.
I'm the captain.
That would be so crazy. Imagine the uncross themselves.
As the uncross fired, please. We don't trust people that cross the floor just based on talk.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, like I think it's okay. I think it's okay. Yeah, the vote. The way I read the votes, passing 50% of the vote passing without a recorded vote, or 50% of the bills passing in third final reading without a recorded vote, is the party, like the parliament is just so thinly divided that by the time it's gone through committee, you start to get a sense of where this is headed. And opposition has a chance to, hey, how do we want to play? Do we come together and vote this down, or do we come together and vote? That's the same thing that happened with the budget. Strategically, absentees allow the budget to pass.
Man, anyway, you cannot be getting paid that much money to not show up to your job. Like, I don't understand. Like,
You can be getting paid that much money to not spend another 100 million on elections. Because they pretty just, hey,
then fix the problem. If the problem is that elections are getting triggered too many times, fix the problem.
yeah, the problem, you can't fix the problem from parliament. It's democracy.
Well,
People get to choose.
however you want to do it, whether it's a referendum or an amendment to the constitution, like whatever it is, fix the problem. Like, don't play these games
And
where
the
you
funny thing
find
is
loopholes.
there are certain things that just act as confidence vote automatically, which is fully like how parliament, they probably have to go back to vote against that, but then again you go back to politics is politics.
It's unfortunate.
And I would say this parliament, I like it this way. I personally like it this way. They agree to disagree, move. Whereas like, hey, let's just agree to disagree, but let's move on. It's not like the bills are not that crazy divisive that you have to come and make everybody like Canada needs a united front now. So more than ever,
then vote. Record your vote. Vote
Yeah,
for the
but-
United Front.
let's see how that some of these guys don't want to put their name in this thing.
Yeah.
But that's the conservative too. That like you all have to go shout for the conservatives and bloc and the NDP. Liberals only have been moving like I don't mind election or no election. Like there's been rumors that he wanted to call an election either ways.
Why? He just got elected last year.
Yeah, because he's like, look, if you guys try to do it, I'm calling an election. I'm so popular, I'll get a super majority. But
Sure.
I'm willing to work with
And
all
I'll
of
be
you.
fine with that. Let him call an election and win a majority fair and square, and then we know what we signed up for.
I actually don't want him to call it. I don't want him to do politics. And
What,
I
you
need
prefer him just doing all this floor crossing?
to be honest, I prefer him with the slim minority. But if people are so moved by his messaging that they want to join his party,
Yeah, they should quit.
they should no.
They should quit and join the Liberal Party, and
They
then
should-
somebody else takes their seat.
No, I think I need McCartney negotiating and talking more so that people can start to buy his message.
Nah.
So very soon, maybe you would trust.
There's nothing to cross. I'm not registered to any party.
You come over and be like, you know what? But it's fair. You're actually giving McCartney some applause.
There's nothing to cross. Canada was asked to boost our oil production with all the shortage of oil in the world. Unfortunately, we don't have any strategic reserves.
We do not have strategy reserve, but we are oil producing
Why don't we have strategic reserves?
because we're an oil producing country, right?
Okay, and
I think it exempts us from like why
US
exporter. But US is
produces oil, they have strategic reserves. My big problem with this story is that I'm worried about our emergency preparedness. Like if there was some sort of catastrophe that we couldn't get, like oil produced, and we need oil. Like
we should
what
boost
do we
our-
do?
yes, we should boost our strategic reserves.
Not boost. We should start having one. We don't have one.
I think actually when I found it out, I was like, really? All these years of Alberta, what have we been doing?
What
We're
have
not
we
being-
been doing?
Alberta, at least the province of Alberta should have a strategic reserve in general.
Yeah, but how will one province have enough reserve for the whole country?
I
Like,
need to we need to look into that. Like,
it's like these are some basic things that you're like, man, like we've been sleeping for the past how many years? Like that's something that you're like, okay, energy. What happens in the event of some sort of catastrophe that we cannot?
what happens? We go to US, but Kanye is changing that. He has changed that. So
Yeah, not changed it yet.
No,
Canada is the only G7 country that does not maintain a strategic oil reserve.
but I also think other G7 countries are not net exporters of oil, other
Doesn't
than
matter.
US, right?
We should have
Like other
our
than US, actually US just became the net exporter of oil. I don't think they were always a net exporter.
Braille.
So we are the only like being a net exporter of oil means like you can afford to not have a strategic reserve among like the OPEC or what they call it OPEC alliance and whatever that we do. But yes, looking at how like Cardi predicted, there's a whole new world order brewing. We should have a strategic reserve. We should help improve our. I agree. That was the message that the energy minister was sending to oil producers. You're now allowed to increase your production.
Wait, who is giving permission to who?
Like like how we have like quota of how much you can produce, and it's like God has asked to evaluate how much crude they can release, so increase the production and export that we can have.
That's a wild thing that somebody's giving permission to countries to. But anyway,
No,
that's not.
I guess it's one of those things that like when you're part of like what's the full meaning of OPEC literally?
Organization
Of petroleum exporting countries or something like that. So I think they all have like
they agreed to certain there so that it's
about it's like a
about like control the prices of oil, like how much supply,
and also too like they had like this whole thing that they would like members can hold over like 1.2 barrel of public emergency stock with another additional 600 million barrels of oil.
I don't think anybody should give us permission to. But like we produce oil. You should have a reserve for the event that something catastrophic happens. That's just common sense.
Yeah, we should. Nobody should give us permission on our reserves. Usually, I think the permission is like the supply into the market is where the permission.
I have an issue with that still, but sure, let's leave it at the supply.
These are the
But,
things
yeah.
that have been so baked into an energy market for like decades. We should start to build a reserve though.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that. That we should start to build a reserve. We shouldn't look at the fact that we're net exporters because you never know what will happen in terms of net exports. I'm also glad that we do have a reasonable prime minister in our office that can look at the situation and do something about
what
it.
is he doing about it?
Asking the producers to produce more so that we can have reserves.
I don't think it's so that we can have reserves. I think they say we can sell.
Yeah, we can sell and help with the global shortage, but also hopefully start to think about reserves. But again, like because we're a net exporter and top global producer, we are not obligated as part of our organization. But even US has a lot of reserves that it can bring. But the way US does their reserves is also a bit tricky. I think they take like there's the federal government in US that takes barrels from the oil producers and just reserves, and then there's oil producers themselves. They also have barrels.
Yeah, that there is. I mean, that makes sense. Like it just sounds like common sense to me.
Sounds like common sense, but to be honest, I don't understand that energy market as
It's like the fundamental like lifeline of any economy, any defense strategy.
the idea was like,
whatever
that
you
was
have.
not supposed to be like obviously like we went on this whole tangent where like our energy was not supposed to be based on fossils and oils over time, and I think that just basically hampered a lot of.
We need to go do some more wind farms. That's our energy reserve.
We actually did some nuclear reactors,
Oh.
nuclear energy reserve, wind energy reserve.
Sure, we can diversify the reserve, but we need some sort of reserve.
But it's crazy, but yeah, like with the crazy situation that's happening in the Middle East and how that whole 20% of geopolitical oil and energy is just frozen and stuck. There's a good chance that Canada should have been set up for that. So there's one thing I would say that you've been shouting on and pointing out that that MOU doesn't look more like it looks like let me say we should go from MOU to MOD.
Legit, bro. Like
No more understanding. Let's just get it done.
thank you.
I would say because right now
All the talk we've been talking useless.
no, it's not useless. I'm just saying like if this never happened, it was fine for it to be an MOU. Now it's we need to just
That's a very roundabout way to think about this. You do stuff like that. You build a reserve. You produce. You whatever. Because that's how a functioning economy should operate.
yeah, but you're trying to sell to a global economy, right? And the global economy already has its markets.
Yeah,
20%
our oil
from-
is too expensive.
Yeah, exactly. So it already has 20% from Middle East. We already have like Europe already takes from Africa oil production, US oil production.
Yeah.
So we're pretty much neighbors with a very massive oil production country.
Yeah, but we also know that oil prices fluctuate, and there are moments in time where Canadian oil is profitable.
Yeah, but it's moments in time that you cannot spend trillions or billions for moments in time
Well,
in producing for moments in time. Do you get what I mean? Like,
we cannot just not produce.
yeah, again, the idea like in the past was, yeah, even if we spend to produce, we have to also figure out who are producing for, who are selling to, and who is ready to buy, right? And what it will cost us by the time we get ready to produce and sell. Who are those that are at the door willing to buy? So, yeah, should we hindsight 2020 for sure? We should have been producing and we can capitalize on it. US can sell, Canada can be in a good position. It really help us with a lot of leverage. But it could have also gone another way where we go from needing oil, all the guys that were doing the forecast left, right, and center, thinking that we would be fully on solar, fully on nuclear, fully on renewable energies. Not yet.
I mean, I could have told them that for free. I don't know why you all are sounding surprised.
I mean, you did chemical engineering, so you really could have seen the writing on the wall. But there are a lot of people that are really optimistic about renewable energies and their potential. It's still not panned out, just because the economics still don't work. economics of supplying renewable energy. Producing renewable energy is pretty good, but supplying renewable energy on a large scale is still, we still need to figure that out.
To figure it out. We need to figure out how to.
And I think Kanye knows, so that's why we're like encouraging more oil production now. Again, I agree. The MOU was good. Right now, we should do something. I mean, fully, Alberta will be happy that their budget, they can come back and
finally balance their budget.
Let's balance this budget ASAP before anybody.
Yeah, but I'll bet the things they're spending money on though. Like now they're gonna fund private school construction. Like, what's the idea for the government of Alberta? Once again, I mean, if it's an investment, I'm all for it.
There's no investment in private.
If it's an investment, if it's a loan,
How do you invest in private?
Concept.
You have
All for
public school system. Why don't you invest
I
in
don't
public
care.
school?
Hedge your bets.
What?
You run the public school system. You invest in private.
Nah,
You're eating from both sides.
Nah.
Your investment in the private and fund your
That's like
investment in
saying
the
like
public.
you own. That's like saying like you own a what is it called? You own Walmart and you're investing in Amazon.
Yeah.
Like you're basically saying you don't believe in.
Didn't Microsoft invest in OpenAI?
Yeah, but that was a joint venture that was beneficial to Microsoft.
Okay, and then Microsoft then went and
Microsoft actually invested
in Anthropic.
Also, Microsoft is actually, you see how it's affecting them now because people are realizing they don't have an AI strategy and it's going down. Microsoft actually invested in Apple earlier on,
Yeah.
but they also sold once it was like a competitor. It's like, dude, like we don't,
Yes.
we
It
don't,
doesn't make
it
sense.
doesn't make
Yeah.
sense for me to be an investor here or
Yeah,
everybody.
in this case, I think it makes sense for the government. If they're going to give the money anyway, it might as well be a loan
My own
or an investment.
this is a huge F for public sector. Basically saying you have 90 million. You don't want to give public. You want to give it to private, bro. I don't know how you go back to your public staff and tell them like and literally it's not better that you just shut down like a public salary increase. But you have 90 million. Well, say over 3 years. That means every year you have 30 million that you can give to public sector.
But they're giving to private. My problem is that,
And public sector is suffering, not like you're giving from surplus.
yeah, I mean, it sounds, reading the story, it just reads terrible because I'm like, if you're giving this 90 million to private, you're just dashing them the money.
Yeah, private is not coming back, and also see, private is not even giving back
What's the
that
return
money.
on that investment?
Maybe you should just take off the load from public sector, but like saying, hey, we have so many demands, let's split the load. Maybe that's the closest, but still, you have so much demand. Use the 90 million to fix
Nah,
the
if the
supply.
government tries to spend 90 million, they will spend it in the less efficient way than private.
Nah, G. I don't trust when. I also want to know who are these private people that are taking this 90 million.
Maybe their last name starts with Smith.
I want to know who are the private people taking this 90 million because it's so sounding like one of these things that what do you call it, charter schools in the US.
Yeah.
It's trying to be a public-private partnership. Public provides the money.
Once again, there's no partnership here. They're just dashing them 90 million from the looks of it. I don't know. Maybe
So it looks like the program is supposed to prioritize schools that serve students with special needs.
Oh, but still, it still goes to the point that public cannot serve special needs students. Oh man.
It's also supposed to help like relieve pressure on enrollment pressure on existing schools.
yeah, but wouldn't the 90 million have relieved that pressure?
That's what
it
I'm
would
saying.
Into
That's what I'm saying. You can spend the 90 million to build public schools to take care of special needs.
yeah,
You can spend the 90 million to fix the supply problem that's high demand. Yeah, because it's understaffed. But if you do have 90 million,
yeah, especially to give away for free, man. Like,
Yeah, but then the thing is that wouldn't the government still be on the hook for maintaining the schools after 2 years?
the private schools are private schools. Like,
Like if they invested in 90 million in
in
themselves.
public.
oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, so the operational budget will scale accordingly. I'm sure somebody did the math on this. It just does not look good.
It doesn't look good because what the government is saying is, we'll give you 90 million. You charge school fees.
Yeah.
You pay us a profit because we cannot charge school fees for our.
But,
Like,
but are they paying a profit though? Like,
private school is profit.
I know, but I guess the taxes collected.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then it's just circular, man. Like, I mean, like the government should either loan that money so they know they're getting the 90 million back, or they invest the money. Like this whole idea of just dashing money to private sector, I don't know if I'm all for it.
So it says independent schools receiving the fund must match the government contributions.
2-1 or 4-1 in the case of new schools.
My guy saying that you have an option to match 2-1 or 4-1. Brotherly, I'll match 2-1.
No, if it's a new school, you have to do 4-1. You don't have an option.
Oh. So what if I start the school and I come and collect this money afterwards?
Loopholes, eh?
Anyways,
Yeah.
I'll better man, maybe stick to oil. Well, maybe they know what they're doing, but yeah, what they're saying is pretty true. The operational budget is what they're trying to
avoid, yeah.
avoid, but it still does not look good, man.
Yeah, it does not look good. They need to figure out a way to get ROI or any dollar spent. That way, when Minister for Industry is coming to tout, oh, when I was Minister for Industry, I did XYZ. You can talk about the results, not just, oh yeah, we spent $90 million on education in Alberta. It's like, yeah, but how? You gave it for free to private sector.
I feel like I've done. How long have you been doing it?
It's been
An hour 30.
an hour 20 maybe. Oh, okay. We have two more stories.
We have to go. Okay,
Yeah.
go to two stories. This is just
The first one, I don't really have a strong opinion. Ontario is allowing shopping on 2 public holidays.
I just want to walk you all, man.
Family, they have
You cannot get out of this rat race.
Yeah, there are people who would not mind getting that money because employers
No.
probably have to pay a premium for those.
No,
No?
you don't pay premium. Previously, you pay premium for working those days. So now you pay regular.
It's a regular salary. I mean,
Previously, if you work those statutory holidays, there's premium, but they're no longer
no, I think before there was just no shopping on those days.
No, it was shut down. No, family day, like everything was closed.
Yeah, now they're saying you can work. So I'm like, I feel like employers will pay a premium for those days. I don't know. Hopefully they do, because if you're gonna make somebody come work on a holiday regardless of your,
Because I think it was like the Retail Business Holiday Act. Okay, it just forbade shopping, actually.
yeah, there was literally no shopping on those days. So
because he was saying it would add 1 million working hours to people's pocket, but I don't think it would count like an overtime working hours. I think it would
maybe not. But I mean, one, it would be money in somebody's pocket.
it would still be money in someone's pocket either ways, which is fair.
If they want to take the holiday, then
Somebody else will come and take
someone.
someone.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's one of that's why I don't really have strong opinions there. I'm like, I feel like the employees still have a level of control. Although, actually, no. Although prior to this change, they got paid regardless.
Yes. Like
Yeah.
full-time
Yeah, because you get paid regardless. It's a
Full-time.
holiday.
Yeah, full-time.
But now you have to work to earn that pay. So, tough. That's tough.
Yeah, man.
Still work.
Man, retail workers, man, but the only thing, selfishly, I mean, if you want to shop, you know when those holidays and you don't know what is open and what is not.
Yeah,
You find yourself driving.
just driving.
Driving like man.
Is Walmart open?
It's the one day
Yeah.
that I really want this cookie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, now I'm off the sugar. Although I'm back on the sugar
That's
left. Yeah, I went to
good.
start buying like some rich teas, man.
Yeah. Well, you went all the way back to Rich Tea.
No, rich was actually the healthiest I could buy.
That's wild. Yeah, I wanted to sugar heavy.
No, sugar actually is like less than 10% in rich tea. Which is what I spent like a huge time looking at one of the biscuits I really wanted to buy that was 30% sugar. And the person I was like, you know what, I'll just do a rich tea, man, 10% sugar and the rich tea. But anyways, yeah. Those are the days when I go looking for cookies. So more temptation for me.
Peanut allergies. That's
Yep.
So medical advice on preventing peanut allergies has flip-flopped. Current recommendation is suggesting that infants should be exposed to peanuts within their first 6 months of life to build tolerance.
You know what is crazy about peanut? I actually did not know. Like I And I was so unlearned. Then was the one that schooled me on this. I actually thought allergies were mental, like reactions.
But they're not.
I'm kidding. I am kidding. Yeah, I mean, mental. It's not like mental, like madness or something. Like it was a psychological.
It's
Like
the first world problem for sure.
no. It's a physical reaction. Like it's like what do you call it? Like a DNA. There's a DNA or like something. Sure, but I still don't understand how. The only like I don't know if I'm allergic. I'm intolerant to a few things, and that may be psychological. Because there's sometimes like I see people with like you and then you guys can scoop powdered milk and I just
I
become
don't do that now anyway. I used to do it back. Now I
so
don't.
now you're intolerant to all the powdered
I don't know if I'm intolerant.
milk. Because you've not been exposed for how many months, you're definitely intolerant.
See,
Yeah, but my allergy is crazy.
my problem is this story. How did they not already figure this out?
My weight, like you can avoid peanut allergy by slowly exposing
Yeah,
infants to peanuts.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to be the one that slowly
No,
exposes.
no, but peanuts are not hazardous material. Like they are not. They are naturally occurring.
No, but they contain. There's something that we saw, like our island. They contain something that's not because you know, like you can't just be allergic to. Obviously, there's some people that say, "Oh, I'm allergic to water," but it's not like you can be allergic to every single thing. They're only like not allergy is one main thing just because of what.
See, I understand, but you cannot avoid something for fear of being allergic to it.
No,
You
maybe
need to figure out if you're allergic to it. So a microdose of something, and then you see the
imagine if the
reaction.
parents are allergic, so they don't bring any
So
microdose.
they just
Allow
what's the word? You
you pass on your
pass on your
allergy
allergy
by means of like, also is it the same thing like you know where like you talk about germs and kids and like
the more germs
expensive
they're exposed to, the stronger their immunity.
probably the same thing but yeah like it's parents are told to strictly avoid peanuts for their babies but new research has flipped also too I don't know okay, what was the research that told parents to strictly avoid peanuts.
That's my question. I'm like, you can't just make up. Like they just like, yeah, no, don't give your children peanut. I'm like, okay, how do I know if they're allergic to it?
So Canada has now introduced
All of them.
recommended.
Canada has recommended. US has. UK has. And this.
But that's the beauty about science, Loki.
No, this is why we go back to the first story. And their statistics and their science are not trustworthy.
No. It's like the science evolves. The statistics. That's what I told you. The statistics evolve. So
There's no evolution here.
No. I'm saying the statistics is approximate with all that we know so far and we can project so far. This is what we know about unemployment. If the hard data comes back, two things will happen. We'll go and evaluate how that statistic sample was selected, or it would align within the margin of error.
No. Or the first time when they made the recommendation, they did a random survey of 56,000 households and asked them about allergy. And then the only people that answered them are people who have allergy.
Or maybe the first time they tried to expose infants to peanuts, one infant literally had popped up. And he was like, yeah, let's not do this anymore. Let's cut down this research.
Once again, microdoses, like you can't just because what like peanut butter is nice. Like a lot of infants like peanut butter.
No way. Next time they're doing a research on what to avoid, maybe you bring your daughter and be like, you know what, let's also check statistically.
They don't need to tell me.
You've already done the experiment.
She's not allergic to peanuts.
When you see, you go and read the statistics and the healthcare
It
recommendations.
was when I saw this news article, that was the first time I knew that there was any kind of recommendation. As far as I'm concerned, I cannot prevent my daughter from experiencing the good things in life.
Fair.
Peanut butter, peanuts.
Almond butter, and they like, you know what?
Apparently, this was like since 2017.
That was the first time. Oh, they started introducing it, or
That like there was so the study was actually there was a paper released in 2015 that shows that early exposure to peanuts significantly reduces.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the council that scientists that brought it out
Yeah.
in 2015.
This scientist does not believe in science. He hopes.
And then someone did a meta-analysis in 2017. Oh.
No, I'm saying that like so in 2017, another research institute was able to replicate the result.
Okay.
That's why like now it's like okay, you probably can actually stand
So who was the first institute that brought out avoid peanut butter is the question I want to know. Because those people now, we should go. That's the thing with statistics. When the real data comes, you go back and figure out what was the sample and you question that sample.
That's such a backwards way of doing things.
It's like you backward propagate because you really need an approximate data to make a decision now.
I like the way the cavemen did things.
You try first, it will blow up in your face. Then you write it as experiment.
Then you can write it with your chest out.
Nah,
The result of doing this action is XYZ consequence. You cannot just make a broad statement like, oh, don't give children peanut butter because they might die from peanut allergy. I'm like, what?
Maybe they should have given me powdered milk a lot because I'm lactose intolerant. Man.
When did you become lactose intolerant?
That's the question I keep asking myself.
Something when you landed in the shores of North America.
Maybe it's because I remember going back to Ghana once and I took a lot of milk and my whole vacation was ruined. I literally just was lying down, man. Couldn't move, couldn't really chat. It was literally impossible to do anything. And then I started realizing, oh, I can't really take powdered milk.
I mean, there are studies. Believe them for what they are.
Because now I say I'm allergic to avocados.
No, it just itches the back of your
Yeah,
throat.
it itches and feels like it's swollen up.
Yeah. There might be some inflammation, but that's not enough reason to claim.
And bananas. I literally said it's not a psychological problem, it's a physical reaction. So you're like telling me is
What? If that makes no sense. Like,
allergic.
sometimes I eat pineapples and then my throat is itching me. Am I allergic?
Doesn't itch. It's not just.
I eat bananas, my throat is itching
feels
me.
like it's plugged.
Sure, feels like it's plugged. Does that mean I'm allergic? No, I'm still gonna eat bananas and pineapples and avocados and
Man, you know, these are the kind of people that put that research for. Avoid it because it might cause problems. In little doses, you start to see that there's problems. Then you back off because you can't overload it, and then next thing you can't talk.
But you don't overload it. You just eat a regular serving of pineapple.
Nah, man. I tried. I would try to do avocados in my smoothies and bananas in my smoothies. It just doesn't work. It literally, like, and I went to research it. There's something about like the small seeds in bananas and the way the pollination of avocados and bananas and a few of these plants or fruits actually work that cause that issue with few people like myself.
Mm-hmm.
And polycolorase with lactose intolerance too, in some sense, but
Yeah. At this point, you're allergic to everything.
No, but so to be fair, lactose intolerance is apparently just like the normal DNA of humans. So usually, like when you get like to a certain age, you like your DNA is supposed to like code for you to react.
you guys are the
to
exceptions.
So it's like the people that are not lactose intolerant actually have a DNA mutation that is able to digest the proteins in milk.
You're superior beings.
Nah, more like you all are not the way we were programmed. You're the edge case. We should have a government wrap you all in one place and do a proper investigation on this and send your DNAs to AI and AI would analyze it. But yeah,
Maybe.
anyways, this has been lovely, y'all. This has been lovely.
Say bye to chat. Chat was really active.
Oh
That
man,
was active, please.
love you all, man. Love you. I know y'all are killing me in that chat for sure because
Tell this guy how ridiculous it is.
you all have been. I know you all, but you all see second year cranny. You all will come over side. All you all will be floor crossers. How about that?
Nobody's crossing.
Okay, half of you will cross the floor. I crossed the floor like 10 months ago. I was like, you know what? This guy is not as bad as
Yeah,
I thought he
that's
would.
how we choose our politicians. It's not as bad as I thought.
I was one of the folks that was like, oh, he's going to carry all the ministers from JT's era. He's going to do it. And then he's like, you know what? Actually, all you ministers from JT eras feel free to quit. And all of them started quitting. He brought in some reasonable folks. Started preaching to the conservatives and the NDPs. And started joining. I'm like, dude, who's this guy? Renaissance, man. Shout out to you, Makani.
Yeah.
We at your back. Alright, I'll see you all next week.
See you